Dimble Folkor Spark Personal Diary Entry, 12th of Elent, 1489 DR. Title: Questioning Significance. Tabor Nighthill is a broad-shouldered, weathered man, with skin kissed by cold winds and sun alike. His dark hair, shot through with premature silver, is pulled back, and his eyes are sharp and observant, the kind that seem to measure a room before he ever speaks. His steadfast resilience to the hellfire that befell his town radiates admiration and courage, even in a simple greenest guard keeping watch in this lantern-lit tower. Looking at our tired faces, he speaks plainly, with a voice worn like leather, carrying the weight of long nights on watch and decisions made when no easy answers exist. "No gold, I promised, will repay what you have done for us, adventurers. I do not know what forces drive you to heed our help, but I am forever grateful. You see, I am cursed from ever wielding a sword. An injury left me incapable of fighting. I feel great shame that I am not able to join you in the battle to save my town. But my fellow adventurers, once again I must ask you to find some drive in yourselves, to muster whatever energy you have left, and save my people from evil." As he continues to explain, about 50 people have barricaded themselves inside a church west of the keep. A group of armoured guards, dragon cultists and kobolds are trying to breach the gates with a battering ram. Our task would be to extract them to safety. I know what those people feel right now. They feel helpless, scared, and I will burn in hell before I leave them to their fate. I do not say it out loud, but my body does. I grip my revolver so hard that steam hisses out of my mechanical armour. My feet are already carrying me out the door. I feel Nox and Wulfgar join me, and Mukta blabbering something about gold in the distance, but he makes sure not to lose our sight as he hurries to catch us. The dawn is almost upon us as we reach the outskirts of the church. I pull out a gold coin and feed it to a golden dragon bracelet around my wrist. As I do, a tiny golden wormling starts to come alive and unfurl in the air. Forged from alchemical gold and bound with radiant draconic energy, Pal is my proudest invention, a tiny golden dragon imbued with a spark of Palarandusk's wisdom. Loyal, curious, and slightly too opinionated, Pal serves not only as my assistant but as my friend. I survey the ground through the shared link of my PC and lock down our targets. Wulfgar taps me on the shoulder, informing me that he smells a smaller threat behind the church. A smell of burning and a damp corridor. A backdoor entrance, surely. We sneak our way past the threat in the front and ready our attack against a group of kobolds burning some books and church furniture, with the intent of blocking the back entrance. We ready our attack. Wulfgar's form changes once again. His eyes turn yellow, his movement hastens. The wolf cowl coming down from his head resembles feathers as he bursts with speed through the air and flies to the first enemy. With the predatory instinct of an eagle, his great axe slays through many in just a few precise motions. Pure, wild instinct, the movement, the skill acquired in the wilderness that raised him, is fascinating to me. But not for long. In a moment, he loses control over his beastly self, no longer distinguishing friend from foe. I have to react quickly, pulling out my BB GR1LL revolver and setting the charge to guidance bolt, shooting a warm light that should help him snap out of it. If it worked once. Mukta didn't waste a moment covering me against a charging kobold. As his accordion charged with a feverish melody oozing green acid mist that wrapped around the kobold and dissolved his flesh of its bones, Nox rushes to our aid, stacking kobold's entrails on his trident. They fight back, give us a few bruises, but we finish them quickly. Wulfgar regains control of himself, and we are left standing in front of a burning pyre blocking our path to the back entrance. Nox pushes us aside and steps forward, raising his hand, trident firmly grasped. We stand and watch as he starts his chant to chord, begging his god to heed his prayers and make the clouds bring the sea to us. The first light of dawn suddenly becomes obscured by a flock of dark clouds, propelled by cold, brisk wind carrying a scent of salt. Then we hear it, the slightest tapping on Nox's armour, picking up in frequency. Soon we are drenched, and the fire is extinguished. We move the debris and make our way inside the long corridor, where the thump of the battering ram in front can be clearly heard. I tell Pal to buy us a little time and use his radiant light as a distraction in front of the church. The long corridor leads us straight to the main church hall just behind the altar. As we slowly step into the grand hall, the light starts to uncover terrified faces of greenest townsfolk. More than 50 people, women, children, all eyes trembling, looking at us, expecting the worst. And then a loud thump echoes through the great church hall, setting some of the people into panic. But one stands out, a priest, judging by his attire, his voice soft and wise, reaching the roused and calming them. "What is your purpose here, young warriors?" he asks. All 4 of us suddenly burst into a cacophony of indistinguishable gibberish. "A rescue mission. Come with us if you want to live. We don't have time to explain." Then the thump comes even louder, the sound of the door almost shattering. We let Nox speak and convince them we mean no harm. The priest introduces himself as Edian Falcon Moon, a half-elf with a lean athletic build, built more for endurance than brute strength. He's bald, with a smooth scalp that catches the soft, muted light behind him. There's a lightness to the way he carries himself, like someone used to high places, narrow paths, and watching the world from above. He helps us usher the people out of the church as the last thump sends wooden splinters of cracked gates through the hall. They spot us rescuing them and rush to stop us. We have to lead them to safety, back to the keep. Wulfgar and Mukta help lead them in the front. Me and Nox are last in the line behind them, last to exit the dark corridor that leads out of the church. I hear them running toward us through the dark hall. It is time, I think to myself, the time to test my invention. A thunderwave grenade. Only one use, but at least it could do some good. My aim is to collapse the hall with the grenade. I press the button to start the charge, narrowing my eyes for any sort of movement, and as soon as I see it, my hand releases the bomb and it hurtles toward the exit. First, the burst of light blinds us. Then comes the sound of thunderous energy exploding the corridor into thousands of crackling pieces as it collapses. It stops most of them. But I wait too long. 3 armoured guards flash through the opening in the last second and are now chasing us. They don't let up, and we have to stop and fight them. Our exhaustion finally catches up with us. Every swing we take misses. Our defences are cracking, as are our bodies, as are our minds. But despite all of it, we don't give in. Each of us is ready to die right then and there. Each of us ready to fight to our last breath. We deplete our arsenal. We give everything we have, the finger disc deployed to taunt the enemies, revolver spitting round after round, axe and trident slashing through armour and flesh, magical bolts buzzing, healing songs soothing. We need all of it to defeat them. As we slew the last one, we thought we could catch our breath. Then we felt a tremor beneath our feet. A charging horde of dragon cultists was running towards us. We have no choice but to run. We bought the townsfolk some time. I prayed to Palarandusk it would be enough. We ran till our lungs and legs gave out, but in vain. Our hunters were gaining on us. We could see the keep towering over us, and the boulder covered in thickest bushes hiding the secret entrance to the keep. We were approximately 200 feet from our objective. One more corner, and we would see it. As we turned the corner behind the boulder, we saw hundreds of archers ready to let loose, and one magnificent dwarf standing in front of them. As we took cover, Escobar's sharp voice thundered through the valley, "Loose!" A rain of arrows showered on our enemies through the morning mist. There was nothing they could have done against such a force but lay dead. I made a promise to Escobar. I would shower him in ale when all of this is done. After all, he did save our lives. Those are the last words I remember before darkness covered my eyes. I welcomed darkness, got lost in it, and then a flash of Palarandusk's face woke me up as if to say, it still isn't over. I'm at the top of the keep's tower, laying in a makeshift medical bed, my armour still wrapped around me. How long was I out? I asked my PC. Sir, you lost consciousness exactly 15 minutes and 45 seconds ago, due to exhaustion. We recommend you drink some electrolytes and take a long rest. I guess I'm lucky I got even that long, and I am almost certain my companions are on the edge of another disaster. I wasn't far off. When I joined the others in the HQ, and the haggling was finished, they informed me that a new situation was developing in front of the keep. A figure towered above most mortals, his half-dragon frame broad and heavily muscled, built like a living siege engine. His skin is a deep burnished blue, scaled in places along his arms, neck and face, catching the light like polished stone. Faint arcs of static energy seem to live just beneath his scales, raising the fine hairs in the air around him. Thunder rolls overhead as the towering figure steps into the firelight before the gates. Heavy boots bite into the stone. Lightning crawls faintly over the blue scales of his neck and jaw. He raised his massive weapon and drove it into the ground with a crack that echoed like thunder.
I am Langdedrosa Cianrath, favoured of dragons, breaker of walls, the storm that walks, wearing flesh.
He turned slowly, letting every watching eye take in the heavy armour, the scars, the crackling power barely restrained beneath his scales.
I have shattered stronger gates than these. I have watched braver men than you bleed into the dirt.
One clawed hand settles casually on the shoulder of a hostage.
And yet, I stand here because your town amuses me.
He looks up toward the battlements.
People of Greenest, listen well. You hide behind walls, behind stone, behind hope. You clutch your children and whisper prayers to gods who have never bled for you. These are your neighbours, your blood, your future.
He gestures lazily toward the captives.
I am not here to slaughter cattle in a pen. That would be dull. I am here for a test of worth. Send me one champion. One. No arrows from your walls. No blades from the shadows. No spells breathed from behind stone. There are only two laws in this trial. Fight me alone, and let no one interfere.
His claw rises to rest lightly at a hostage's throat.
If either law is broken, their blood will paint your precious gate.
He steps back, spreading his arms wide, storm-like crawling across his scales.
So choose, Greenest. Send me a champion, or watch hope die screaming.
Shocked by the unfolding events, a few moments pass until we recollect ourselves. Lord Nighthill approaches us with a shining orb in his hand. Greenest has put their last efforts and magic in this orb. He tells us the orb will restore one person to full strength, maybe even beyond, and it is reserved for the champion of Greenest. I hope there is one amongst you that will rise to this task, he says. The amount of magic and material required to make something like this is staggering. The obvious choices are Nox or Wulfgar. Both have their strengths, but in the end we agree. Nox will take up the mantle. Before he leaves, I ask Nox if I can borrow his trident for a moment. I have been working on a design since the moment I first laid eyes on it. I pull out a silver rainguard extension and slide it through the handle to the top. As it reaches the top, silver embellishments of waves click into place, and engraved tentacles begin to wrap themselves around the prongs of the trident. One small blue crystal shines inside the embellished silver waves. "Here," I tell him. "Now go and kill that bastard." Nox opens the orb. Magic envelops him. His form turns into light itself, radiating outward. His body rejuvenates. His vigour returns. Nox steps into the courtyard. Langdedrosa towers over him, throwing insults. He releases two of the children out of the kindness of his heart as he says it. But Nox does not waver. He calmly presses the trident to his chest, his head bowed. Maybe out of respect for one-on-one combat, maybe to whisper another prayer to Cord. Langdedrosa mistakes this for weakness. He lunges. Steel meets lightning. The ground cracks beneath their blows, scales split, blood spills, thunder howls overhead. From atop the tower I scream, "Nox, throw the trident!" He does. A black spectral tentacle explodes from the trident, latching onto his throwing arm. The weapon flies, unnatural, guided. It strikes Langdedrosa. Nox yanks his arm back. The trident tears free and returns to his hand, as if dragged by an unseen leviathan. The fight continues, blow after blow, lightning and steel. Langdedrosa begins to falter. One more round, and he would have fallen. Then the portal opens, and a voice booms from within.
"You arrogant fool! You will cost me this war. And people of Greenest, this was just a prelude of the coming reckoning. Pray, hide, run. It won't matter. Your end is nigh."
The portal sucked Langdedrosa into its depths. At that moment, under my command, A battalion of archers stacks the inner wall overlooking the courtyard. I never leave things to chance. This was my contingency. The enemies have no choice but to surrender and release the 2 remaining hostages. The morning sun casts its warm hue over Greenest. For a brief, sacred moment, silence and peace nestle in the broken city. No more clamour of steel, no more crack of magic, no more screams. Leaves rustle, birds sing, water trickles in nearby streams. Then a cheer erupts. Nox is lifted into the air. Families reunite. Tears are shed. 2 full days have passed since we first stepped over the hill and saw Greenest burning. 2 days of escorting, fighting, defending, almost dying. My dear Palarandusk, why me? I whisper. What can a handful of us do? What difference did we make in these last 2 days? I almost cry. I don't know if it is confusion, or happiness, or madness. Assessments are made. A war council will be held. But for now, the fighting has stopped. I hear 2 words from Nighthill's mouth: bed and rest. My head feels ready to explode. Questions await. Equations still demand resolve. But still, instinct wins. I pull out my notebook, sketch the first ideas for Wulfgar's arm guard. Tell my PC to prepare recordings for tomorrow. I hope he can